So this is probably where the home of Mozart was, because that's Hagenauer Platz, which is the name of the landlord. And this is Mozart's house. And I don't think the tours went into that earlier Mozart place I was at. They're not that foolish. Charge 11 euros to go in and see. I've walked down another one of those little, what they call streets, but I'm calling just a alleyway that's all enclosed to get into the center of this block, if you will, in the hopes that we can see something that rings of the old. And hopefully this is it, but I don't know if that's something that was developed new, or I would suspect those windows are old, at least the archways are. Another pretty little setup. Notice how they've used, I think, those steel rods to stabilize that building. You see the cracks in the walls. It's maybe giving us a little hint as to how the interiors of these blocks between streets were used. They're a cellar converted to storage, perhaps. Set up shops, but they don't appear to survive, at least not this time of day. And a Chinese place like this might be well known to the locals who use it in the evenings and the afternoons. Try one now on the opposite side of this street. This is that main street we were walking down, this pedestrian street. Doors might be old. Side portals opened into residences, or were always shops, I don't know. My bet is that, like this one, they were a mixture of. You could just as easily have a grocery store inside this than out on the street itself. There might have been some advantages to it. But these all may have been residences. Or we may be conned, and this is all new stuff anyway. At Residenzplatz again, attempt to see if they can discover anything authentic. Eureka and Shazam, it looks like we have. This is another street I came down from Residenzplatz. This was interesting because the area inside here is much more open than we saw before. Larger spaces, in other words. And what I'm going to do is go down still another little alley that comes off from inside this block of buildings. One can well imagine that you could block these off with gates, particularly if there were businesses here, or homes, or groups of homes even. Another church at the end of this street. Salzburg University, perhaps the law school. A large open square, opening up into still a larger open square. Probably in its day, this fountain right there, for example, generated water that people could use. They could put their pots on that stone, and out of the center of that flower, redundant, probably poured the water. A bit of detail to add some interest on the wrought iron. Antique pharmacy still operating. The colorful old shutters that could be folded in. I don't know if they do now.
Und dann würde ich mal auf jeden Fall 6 Tage hindurch und dann 2 Tage pro Woche.
Hello, aluminum.
Ja, und dann die wir in Ordnung.
Die kleinen kosten 67 und die großen 12,40.
Die Shopping 43,20.
Slight curved front. Doing a land office business. This reminds me of, I think, a tower in Prague, although I'm not sure where it was. Might not have been there, where it was famous for its clock with its moving figures in it. It came out once a day, and there was a whole train of them. There's Residenzplatz. This is the residence building here. It was the site of the bishops, where they dramatized and exposed their incredible power with the extravagance of what was inside that building. This is the Salzburg Cathedral, or that one is, or that one is. I'll have to find out. Inside the residence, but I'm not going to actually visit it today if I do at all. Exactly sure what these archways were for, except as a courtyard for the power of the church. Incorrect, there was fundamentally little difference, if any, between the Romans, emperors, and their perception of themselves, and the structure they ruled over, and the Catholic Church.
Hier, festhalten. Eine Hand und dann nach oben schauen.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes.
I forget what they call this barrel architecture. It's a singularly unimpressive pulpit. This is probably a baptismal font, but a very elaborate one.